Why, hello everybody. Welcome to another Back in My Day. Today we're going to talk about board gaming, pros and cons, but mostly pros. And this is more of a talking about the goods and bads of board gaming, but more importantly, it will also revolve around my memories about how I really came back into board gaming and the story of how my hobbies have evolved in a way to what it is today. Or maybe devolved if you feel so, up to you. So let us begin. Now, the thing is, my early career as a board gamer never really was there. When I was a kid, my parents bought Payday, Guess Who, um, Connect Four, Battleship, and stuff like that. And it was fun, but not great. I was never really into board gaming. In fact, when I was younger, I only played in Australia, Perth, Monopoly one time, and I only played half a game before we all got bored. So never really got into that hobby. Um, in 1995, if you watch the past videos, you know I picked up Warhammer 40,000, and then 1996 I picked up Magic the Gathering, and great games, fantastic games, but just fell out of it. Reasons why for the Magic one, you can watch the past videos, and maybe I'll do a video on the Warhammer 40,000 one in the future. But let's just say reasons why, such as the game getting more and more convoluted and expensive, absolutely expensive, ridiculously expensive, are reasons why. But I'll go into details into that in some other video. I feel that warrants a full video. Anyway, after that, I started getting into video games. In between with the Warhammer 40,000, I always played a ton of video games. I spent a ton on video games. And there was to me at least, just a trend I didn't like, which was, I love the downloading aspect where you don't have to get the physical copy. But it became a thing where it's so common now where a game comes out, I don't feel like I got the real full game anymore. There was always this thing that, you're gonna get expansions and there will be updates. Updates are great, by the way, but expansions especially, like with Shogun, one of my favorite series, the Total War series. I buy a game now, 2 months later, 16 new units will come in. And let's be honest, if you want to play competitively, even with just your friends competitively, if you don't get those 16 new units, you're not competitive. You're always on that losing end. I didn't like that, and on top of that, video games had this issue whereby if the game got too old, or if the game is too new and your system can't keep up, you can't play the game. Like now, if I wanted to play MS-DOS, I would have to download an emulator and then have to go find the site to download. It just became a chore, the video game thing, and it's not cheap. And I'm poor, I admit that. So I just kind of fell out of video games because it just felt like I never got the full game. That's one of the more important parts of it. Then what happened was I fell out of 40K and I fell out of Magic the Gathering. Video games I was starting to wane. I was still playing quite a bit though. Then I started found poker in 2006 around, and I loved it. I played poker so much in 2006 to 2012. At many points in between that period, like I think the most I played was 1 month or 30 days or 31 days. I played 28 days. Every day I'll be playing poker, non-stop, and I loved it. I loved the game. I still do. But I fell out of it. Simple reason. I love the game, and here's the first thing I mean. I'm not the best poker player. Okay, I spend very little, but so I make enough for myself if I play. But I always play because I love the game. When 2006, when I first started playing poker, I won't go too much into this, but again, this is a small concise history of how I fell into board gaming. So this is important to the point that when I first started in 2006, people played the game, and it was a gambling game, however you think of it. So people, when they lost, they got pissed, but they never really directed it at you. But as the game got more popular and people knew the math, people started to take 33% as a God-given right, and they would actually lose and get angry at you. And I started to find myself surrounded by miserable people who over-evaluated their ability to become a pro poker player. and I just didn't like the crowd anymore. I wasn't having any more fun. I would sigh when I see someone walk into a room, and I just became unhappy, and so I stopped playing. I haven't played in close to a year, but I still love the game. I admit it. Once in a while when I play online, I love it. So after that, I stopped playing all these things, for various reasons, and I kind of waned towards fighting games. The aspect. I bought a holy joystick for $200, right over there. You can see it right there. That didn't last too long. What happened was I started learning to play fighting games, and I just started to watch videos online and all while learning how to play. And I just started to watch this hobby stuff on the links bar and all that, sidebar on YouTube, and I had the dice tower and watch it play. And I started to, you see these great board games and all. My perspective of board games at the time was very rough. I knew there were things like Settler Catan and all, but those really didn't really strike me. Then I started watching a few videos just for the heck of it, and I was amazed that these games had variety. I'm going to the pros now for board gaming. They have variety. They had a ton of theme and quality, and here's the best part: Tom Vassell really let you know whether the game was good or bad, and what were his real thoughts, which really captured me. If Tom Vassell was a reviewer that was like, doesn't sugarcoat stuff and all, I wouldn't have got the board game. Because one thing I always worry, like with video games, whether they're telling the truth. When you buy the game, will you be disappointed? At least if the person told you the truth and it's not for you, you feel alright. But if you feel like the guy kind of like sided towards like a developer or a producer of a game, and then you bought it, you feel cheated. So I really love Tom Vassell. For gameplay wise, to see how games have evolved, watch it play Rodney Smith. Very good playing quality, and let me see how the games play and how much fun it could be. So I really like to thank those two guys. And then it came to the 18th of January, and all came down to this game, Elder Signs. I must praise this game because it was the first game I was at. I found a new gaming store, a friendly gaming store which I wanted to support finally in Singapore, and it was just $40, about $41, and I had a membership discount. So, and I bought it. And here's the thing, important about Elder Sign: if this game was not good, I would have not bought any more board games. Like I say, I'm a poor kid, and if this didn't work out, I would not bought, because it'd be like, oh, another failed hobby. C'est la vie. And I bought this on the 18th of January for $41. Took it home, played it, and here's the thing: it's not about the complexity of the game, even whether this is a gateway game or whatever. Not so. 40k, you have average of 150 200 pages of rules, so rule books weren't really an issue ever. But this game just had all the good things about it. It's not my top 10 anymore because I found better games, but I still enjoy Elder Signs quite a bit. Simply put, this game easy to set up, quick to set up, and plays within close to an hour, or maybe an hour and a half if things delay a bit. And that was important because most of the games I played before, like Risk, it was a pain to set up. It was a pain to play because it took so long. You never really finished the game, and this one just did it. Everything fit in so well. It became my twin brothers and top game. And we just enjoyed it so much. And from this, thanks to Fantasy Flight's Elder Sign, we spread into all of this. That's 17 games that I have now, and $1,000 for a poor guy. That's a lot, to spend. And I'm not intending to get like 600 board games or whatever, but it just exploded. I'm gonna keep to buying less games and buying good games. So, but basically, it was all thanks to Elder Signs. Really have to give a thanks to Fantasy Flight for producing a great game, simple dice game that works. On top of that, also the board gaming community. Like I said about poker, this is how it links. That if the people you play with are mean, I go nowadays. Most of my games are played with meetup groups and all that, and most of the time, they're great. They're friendly. Most importantly, they're normal, and they just want to have fun. So I enjoyed the company too. So literally, I would travel all across Singapore, Singapore is a small country, but the problem is all the winding roads, and I take public transport because I can't afford a car. Because cars here are ridiculously expensive, and that's why I don't even bother to learn to drive because it's so expensive. I will travel close to back and forth, can be 3 hours just to play board games, for 6-7 hours. So, take that as how much I'm into the board gaming and how nice the people are. For the cons of it, as with anything, you always meet the more eccentric or weird people, and for those that are in the board gaming community, sometimes they lash out pretty easily. Like if you saw my past videos before, there was a guy who said people who played light games he has transcended their level of board games. Or the person who just doesn't get that. There was one guy who was playing Imperial 2030, and he played it like a war game, and he couldn't care less about anything else, and he literally chased 2 people off the table. People like that. But then again, every hobby has that. The cons of board gaming, not much. Maybe space if you really start buying a lot, and you need people physically to be there. Maybe those are the cons, but I can't really say much bad about it because oh yes, forgot, one of the great pros of it is here I can play this Elder Sign first edition. This is the revised edition, but like the first like formulation of the rules. 10 years later, if I take care of this game, I can still play it. 20 years later, I can still play it. It's gonna be there. If you came out with 3rd edition with completely new rules, let's say 10 years later, I don't have to play that. I can play this. And here's the important part: I can play Elder Signs. Don't get the expansion, which I do have, and I can still enjoy the game. I can literally customize how I want to play the game, which is a great pro of board gaming. That I buy the game, I don't feel it's gonna go obsolete. I can still play the game. At the end of the day, that really makes it so cost effective. And look at that, I bought this at $41. I've played this close to 50 times. That's all about, if you just take it even at 1 hour, that's 50 hours of play. And I still am going to play more of it. Look at how effective the time is spent. That's like about close to almost $1 an hour. So that's why, and it's so great. The board gaming community is so great. Like, to be honest, I tried MMOs for a short while, and they were mean. Very malicious people who like, no, but what are you doing here? Blah blah blah. Board gaming community, because you have that face-to-face aspect also. If you wanted to be mean, I dare you to, because it's that kind of thing. Because most of the time, let's be honest, bullies, they only can be brave when they know that you don't do anything. And I'm not very aggressive, but if you're mean to me, I tend to tell you. So, you watch my replies to Watch It Played in my playlist, and you can see that I'm very much an advocate of telling the bad player to, well, go away. So, in conclusion, it's a great hobby. Makes me feel like a kid again. I enjoy it. Very cost effective, time wise too. Maybe the travel time's an issue for me, but that's for me personally. But everything else, I don't know 10 years later what's going to happen or whatever, but right now I can say board gaming, thank you so much. And thank you Fantasy Flight and Elder Sign, because if this game had flopped for me, I would not have bought all those games that I have now. Also thanks to Tom Vassell for being such an honest board game reviewer. If it weren't for you, I would not have trusted to buy so many games. And of course many other reviewers like Marco Wargamer and all, but Tom Vassell was to me still the top if I had to rank. And Watch It Played's Ronnie Smith. Great quality and allowed me to learn how to play the games correctly. Thank you so much. I hope to see you all soon. Till next word.